Buying a house is pretty complicated task. It is important for property buyers to know that for ownership transfer, a buyer needs to pay some charges in the form of stamp duty and also for registration. This will be collected by the respective state governments and is precisely why these charges vary from state to state. Two things that you need to keep in mind. There are a few states that provide discount to women buyers of the property, and most states tend to have different stamp duty charges for their rural and urban area. Here, let us tell you the whole process for stamp duty and registration of property. Hello and welcome. I'm Anukriti Bisht, a financial advisor with a leading financial institute of the country, and you're watching a learning episode on wealth management bite size. Stamp duty is similar to any other tax taken by the government. Only here it is collected for a transaction that involves legal document such as sale deed, convenience deed or sales agreement. In technical terms, stamp duty is tax paid for any document through which any right or liability or is intended to be created, extinguished, transferred, extended or recorded. Only upon payment of stamp duty, the document upon which the stamp duty is paid becomes legal, and also only after this can this document be used as evidence in the court of law. How is stamp duty calculated? As we mentioned earlier, each state has a different way of looking at stamp duty and calculation, and we'll take an example of the state of Maharashtra. State of Maharashtra has three categories for calculating stamp duty. Category 1 would be fixed stamp duty, which would be for documents for divorce, affidavits, adoption deed, memorandum of marriage, power of attorney, indemnity bonds. Category 2 would be stamp duty calculated basis the value mentioned in the document. These would include agreement relating to deposit of title deeds, leases, clearance list, mortgage deed, and article of association. Under category 3, stamp duty will be based on the value stated in the document or the market value, whichever is higher. Document here include convenience deed, gift or agreement of sale, partnership deed, transfer, development agreement, and trust. Now, when do you pay a stamp duty? You will have to pay stamp duty before or at the time of executing the deed for which the stamp duty has been paid. So typically, you either pay the stamp duty before the day on which it is executed or on the day on which you are executing the deed. There are three ways of paying stamp duty: purchase, franking, or e-stamping. A physical stamp is the most traditional way of paying stamp duty. Here you purchase a non-judicial stamp from an authorized vendor. Non-judicial stamp paper are papers which have an impress stamp on them already, and your transaction details are written or typed on these papers. Finding a vendor for these type of stamp paper is not really an easy job, and many times there is a shortage of such papers. If the stamp duty has to be paid, it will be of a high amount, then you might require many stamp papers, and this is not really the best method preferred by all. You may also want to think that there are possibilities that those papers could be fake. Second way of doing stamp duties is e-stamping. To avoid fake stamp papers and to make stamping easy, the government introduced e-stamping. In some states, e-stamping is actually compulsory. E-stamping is essentially stamping done online. Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited, or SHCIL, has been appointed as the official vendor for e-stamping and is also the central record-keeping agency for all the e-stamping that are used in the country. In order for this to be done, you will need to visit their site, choose the state in which you need the e-stamping to be done, make sure it is allowed in your state, get the information, fill in the form, go to the collection center, and from there the e-stamping will be done. The benefit of e-stamping is that it is convenient, and another benefit is that the authenticity of your e-stamp can be verified online using the UID number. However, the issue with e-stamping is that a duplicate of your e-stamp will not be issued. So you need to make sure that those documents are kept very safely. Franking is a process where an authorized franking agent will put a stamp on your document indicating that the stamp duty has been paid. Before you execute the transaction for which the stamp duty has been paid, you should approach an authorized bank who will act as a franking agent or a franking agent to deposit the stamp duty. Once you pay the stamp duty, the franking machine will be used to frank the documents with a special adhesive stamp. Now, some states, and actually every state, have some amount that is prescribed for franking, but this amount is then adjusted against your total amount paid for stamping. So, for example, if you were supposed to pay 5% as stamp duty and the amount charged for franking is 0.01%, then you will end up paying stamp duty of 4.09%, so that the total still remains at 5%. Let's talk about registration. Once you have paid the stamp duty, the document has to be registered under the Indian Registration Act with the sub-registrar. This registrar should be of the jurisdiction where the property is situated if the transaction involves property purchase. The basic purpose of registration is to record the execution of the document. Only when you register the document it becomes legal and your ownership becomes legal. If any, it is transferred to the right owner. The registration fees is a fees that is over and above the stamp duty, and this also varies from state to state. For example, for Karnataka, it is at about 1% of the value of the transaction. Now let's talk about how the registration would be done. The owner as well as the seller will have to submit their ID documents along with the documents of the property that's being sold and purchased at the moment. They will have to show the receipt of the payment of their registration as well as stamp duty. There are some cases where you would need to intimate the registrar office of the property transaction, and this is very specific to the state of Maharashtra. This will be applicable to those who have taken a house loan for the purchase of property. In this case, you will be mortgaging the title deed to a lender, which is a bank, and it is now obligatory that the state registration office is informed about all mortgage detail within 30 days of the mortgage being executed. If an agreement is being signed between the mortgager and the mortgagee, it has to be a compulsory registered. It is applicable in case of mortgage that are done by the way of deposit of this title deed. The usual time for the registration is about 4 months from the date of execution. Well, I hope that now you know the whole process, and it should be easy for you to go through the registration and the stamp duty for the house that you're planning to buy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the information on this episode value adding. Don't forget to like us, share us, and subscribe to us. See you soon.